Okay, we are finally back with another Leven Thumps book review. It has been way too long. I think it's literally been a year since I read book 2. But we're finally back. We're getting into it. And yeah, this one is book 3, Leven Thumps and the Eyes of the Want. So, I mean, this book kind of is all over the place. It's a lot of setup. It has a lot of really cool concepts that it explores. And a lot of big moments actually happen. I did find myself through the lulls of the book getting quite bored with it. There's just, once again, a lot of setup. There's a lot of chapters where things don't really happen. But then there's some really good chapters and lots of really cool story stuff that we really haven't gotten too much of up to this point. Lots of really cool reveals as well. But jumping into it, this book picks up right where the last one left off, of where Leven learns about the secret, and the secret, spoilers, by the way, spoilers for everything. And if you haven't seen my book 1 and book 2 review, I will link them. There's a playlist, so you can go check those out. You may as well go check those out if you haven't before you watch this one. Anyway, Leven found a secret last book, and it's the secret is how sycophants can die, which nobody knows other than sycophants, and I believe the Want as well, which the Want is like the watcher of Fu. He like watches over and keeps Fu functioning, I guess. He sees all dreams. Anyway, Leven and the gang are hanging out trying to find the secret because the secret took off and they're chasing it. They're at like this pub or restaurant place, and Leven goes into the bathroom and he sees his reflection in the mirror, and he starts talking to his reflection, and it doesn't seem like a nice entity that he's talking to, which we find out later that wasn't actually his reflection, it was something else. But anyway, Leven goes outside. He's kind of mad at Winter and Geth, and he goes outside and he sees that there's this dark figure, and it's talking to the secret. And anyway, the secret ends up making a deal with that dark figure, and the dark figure ends up killing the secret and actually burying it. I don't know. I feel like there was a picture that was drawn of that, but anyway, the secret passes on the secret, obviously, and it gives the key to whoever this dark figure is, and then the dark figure takes off, and then Leven starts chasing the dark figure. And they end up at a lake. So from here on out, though, we get tons of different storylines that are going all at the same. Here's the dark figure right here holding the secret, and you got Leven and Clover chilling right there. Anyway, we get a lot of different side things. We learn new characters. We learn about a character named Rast. He's a sycophant. He's hanging out in Sycophant Run. It's where all the sycophants live, apparently. But anyway, he's searching for one of the 7 keys entrusted to each of the races that live in Fu. Obviously, the one that the secret had was the one that was entrusted to the sycophants, because it is their secret. He couldn't find it in this dark place and starts freaking out. All the sycophants are freaking out. We cut back to Clover and Leven. They end up getting split up from Winter and Geth, and at this point, Leven's like climbing a whole bunch of stairs at this place that he ended up, and he had drank some water because he's been climbing so many stairs. Obviously, Clover has his bag of goodies that he gives all these sorts of random things to Leven, but he gives Leven this water, which allows Leven to forget, like his memory's like literally wiped, so he has no idea why his legs are burning, but Clover's like, dude, just climb the stairs. But they end up having to run faster up these stairs because Clover throws down a bunch of popcorn kernels, and they end up catching on fire, and this entire stairwell is just filling up with giant popcorn. So anyway, we got Leven and Clover trying to find the Want. We've got Geth and Winter dealing with their situation. We bounce back and forth between Janet. We go with Ezra and Dennis and Tim, as well as Sabine. In the last book, Sabine actually attached himself to Dennis, and in this book, Sabine attaches a little bit of himself to Tim as well. So Tim starts to lose his mind and is being controlled by Sabine. Anyway, what happens there is they're trying to rebuild the gateway. At a certain point, Dennis is being a douche, which Dennis is being controlled by Sabine. And then Ezra's also like talking to Tim, and he's like, dude, you got to snap out of it because Sabine's messing with his head. Anyway, at one point, Ezra jumps at Tim, stabs him in the head because he's a toothpick. He falls out of the tree, and then Tim smashes Dennis and then launches all of Sabine off of Tim and Dennis. And then Ezra, once again, has magical abilities where they're still on Earth, but he's able to use the grass to, like, kill Sabine. So Sabine is, like, dead completely. So there's that whole plot point that's going on there. Like I said, Janet is in Fu, but she's like a ghost where, you know, she can't touch anything. She's see-through. Over back to Winter and Geth, we learn about a guy named Azure, which Azure was a part of some council. There's another guy named Null that walks in, and this is like the part that I don't know if it necessarily sucks. It's just a thing, but like we're jumping around bad guys all the time, right? So Jamoon was in the first book, he's dead. Sabine's here, Sabine's dead. Excuse me. Sabine was in the first book, now he's dead. Jamoon was in the second book, then he's dead, but Sabine's back. Sabine dies in this one. Now we meet a new bad guy named Azure, which he ends up capturing Winter and Geth, and they are going on this weird little journey. Leven and Clover end up meeting the Wand, and they have a huge chat. They end up seeing Levin's mother, which she's like a ghost, and then they end up seeing Ansel as well, which was Clover's first burn. So yeah, it's like the room of the dead that they're in, where they're able to, when they're talking about somebody that's passed, they're able to see them. So yeah, Leven ends up meeting Ansel, and then he has a quick chat with his mom. Once again, like the overarching story of Leven Thumps is just okay. This really is like, this is a kid's book. It's written for a much younger audience. However, I've said it in the first two books, specifically the second one, I praised it a ton. But like Obert Sky's imagination and creativity is like second to none. It is so fun, some of the stuff that he comes up with that his brain is able to conjure. Like one example, this is the Wand, by the way, but one example is when Geth and Winter are being transported. They're being transported on a boat across the like water. And then at some point, the boat dives underneath the water, and Winter's like freaking out, thinking, "Oh my God, we're gonna drown!" And anyway, what happens is there's these. Let me see if I can figure out what their names are. Pretty sure I wrote it down. Winter and Geth, they're submerged under the water, but there's these certain beings that shed their souls from their body to cleanse them, and their souls are able to like. I don't even know how, I can't remember how he explained it, but their souls are able to help Winter and Geth essentially breathe underwater. Another really cool, interesting thing is there's these, I think they're called lemon snakes, that when they bite you, Leven gets bit by one and he puffs up. And then what happens is these snakes end up sucking all of the sour out of a person, making them nice, which is, once again, just, there's lots of really fun things that Obert Sky does in his writing that it's just like, dude, he's so creative, and I've never, ever heard of some of the things that he's come up with, which is so fun. And that really is like my favorite part about Fu, about this series, is Fu and his creative imagination, all of the different beings, how everything is linked. Like, it is so much fun. The overarching story's fine, but like there were some good parts in this. Once again, like I already said, spoilers, but we're going back into heavy spoilers, where what happens is at a certain point, Leven actually ends up killing the Want towards the end of the book, and he becomes the Want. But right before the Want dies, the Want tells him that he was Levin's grandpa. He was Hector Thumps, and he's tired of being the Want. He is burnt out. He's tired of knowing everybody's dreams. So now Leven has become the Want. Towards the end, Winter and Geth are able to escape from Azure, but the place called Lith is like being consumed and destroying itself. So they're in a sticky situation. Clover sees him trying to help. Anyway, Winter is stuck with these two guys named Sate and I can't remember the other dude's name. But Geth is like, hey, Winter, you got to go with them. I'm going to swim back and go help Leven. So, you know, Geth ends up finding Leven, and that's kind of where the story ends. But like I said, like this whole book just felt like a huge setup for what's to come for the next one. Although we did have some cool story moments and a lot of really fun explanations of different things. So, like here's that death room with Leven talking to Ansel. So yeah, once again, like I think I enjoyed this book far better than the first one, but it's still not like incredible. What's incredible is just the creativity behind Obert Sky and his imagination. So if I had to rate it, I would once again give it like a 7, probably somewhere around there. But there's another part too that like is another interesting character setup where we learn about Winter's sycophant, and I think her name is Lily, and I'm assuming she's going to play a big role in the books to come. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where we left off. I guess Tim is also in Fu now. Tim makes the Fu. I can't remember if Dennis and Ezra made it back yet or not, but the next book, book 4, is called The Wrath of Ezra. So I'm assuming that Ezra does get back to Fu. Oh, I guess another thing, too, that I want to quickly mention before we end is, like, there's a lot of things happening to Earth as well, where Earth is like buildings are moving and things are happening and Earth is becoming a mess because Fu is being destroyed. So there's lots of things that are happening. But yeah, that is my review of Leven Thumps and the Eyes of the Want. Hopefully it won't take me a year to get through the next 2, because I would like to finish this series. So that is it. If you guys have any questions or thoughts on the book, let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Keep it rad.